Welcome to Our Life, everybody. Today it's all about finances, how we can clean them up and stay on track. So before we bring out my first guest to kick this financial show off, I'm going to give you a removing the mask fact. Most Americans have up to $38,000 in debt. So when we return, we're going to open up the segment with Miss Stephanie Cooper, and she's going to educate us on taxes and why we need to pay our taxes so we can keep Uncle Sam out of our pockets. So we'll be right back. And we're back now, so I want you guys to help me welcome my first guest, and that's Miss Stephanie Cooper of the Stephanie Federal Tax Filing Services. So thank you for coming, hang out with me, and talk about taxes. So let's just jump right into it. When did you start preparing taxes and why? Because taxes is, you have to really like numbers.
Yeah, I am a numbers person, and I started preparing taxes back in 2004. I went out on maternity leave, and I was just bored. And it was during tax season, and I was a senior accountant by profession, and so I just started preparing, taxes for my family, and I kind of liked it and got into it. And then they started referring other people. I started out my home. And then I looked up, I had over, 100 clients coming to my house. And because some of them were strangers, I decided to open up an office in the building that I worked in. Because I still worked as a senior accountant for Baker Hughes. And I opened the office on the second floor. My job was on the third floor. And I hired 2 people. And pretty much and myself part-time in the evening. And I walked in one day, and it went on till 2008, part-time for me, and with 2 employees.
When did you go full-time?
In 2008, when I walked in, and it was standing room only.
And all this because you was bored from maternity leave.
Yes.
You know what? How important is it for everybody to stay on top of their taxes?
Very important to stay on top of your taxes. We're in 2019. There's a lot of government changes this year. A lot of people owe back because of the Schedule A. And it was sad because most of them were homeowners. They did all the right things. And our government raised the standard deduction, which under Schedule A required them to have more deductions to be able to get tax dollars back. And a lot of people, they also changed the employee unreimbursed expense. And a lot of employees that work out of their home and that normally contribute to their job but don't get reimbursed on the job, then they were not able to write that off because you had to be in a certain profession to get that write-off. That hurt a lot of real estate people. People that, because you had to either be a government official, of course, they left it for themselves. You had to be an artist or have some kind of handicap to get that. I mean, most people are not, in those categories. So I felt bad for a lot of my homeowners who that depend on both of those 2 credits, and it caused them to owe back. So I have suggestions to prepare yourself for 2019 taxes so, they wouldn't have to pay back so much because some of them had to pay back as much as $18,000. And this is a taxpayer that normally gets a refund. Most of her write-offs she could not take in 2018. So we have to be serious about our taxes. Not to be afraid of them, because you can use your tax return on a positive note too, because if you keep your receipts, which a lot of us don't like to, but those receipts are dollars to me. And I tell people,
you claim it on your taxes.
Exactly. When you throw away a receipt, you're throwing away a potential money out the window. and you can use that money for home repairs or to take a trip or to do something you've always wanted to do, but sometimes we're negligent in just keeping some simple. Back, years ago.
Well, let's talk about business owners and taxes as well, because with keeping receipts and logs and your bookkeeping skills, how is that all important for business? How is that important for business owners?
Well, for business owners, if you're licensed in your business, keep your license up, because if you're audited, you need to be able to produce and show that that's a legitimate business, because this is a big area of fraud. Those days is over saying you have a business and you don't have a business.
Yeah.
For your records, your profit and loss, keep up with your income. What if you have employees, what you're paying your employees, how much you're taking in gross receipts, sales. If you're sole proprietor, keep up with what your clients are paying you. And then again, I can't stress enough the receipts, your expenses. Keep up with all your business documents that's monetary, whether it's cash or credit card. I recommend that you open up a business account. If you're sole proprietor, then you need to use that EIN number, employee identification number, and you open up your business account so you can track your income and your expenses. Is easy. A lot of banks like Chase Bank, they have an annual statement that come out that will categorize your expenses for you, and you can take that to your CPA or your tax preparer and give them that summary, and there's all your stuff right there. I highly recommend that. Another thing with business owners, some people just make a whole lot of money. If you're just killing it, then you need to go down to the IRS either quarterly or a biannual or annual and pay into a 1040 ES some estimated taxes. Do not go the whole year. I do have a client, he's at $500,000, and I have told him every year to go in and to pay into that 1040 ES so he won't owe, because even after his
because he's still owing every year.
Yeah, even after paying off his employees and everything, because he makes so much. You can only write off so much.
Yeah.
And if you're doing that well, it don't hurt to. And then the 1040 software, make sure your tax preparer is up to date on their software. The one I use, it prints out. It tells my clients what to pay into estimated taxes.
So let me ask you this. Do you, a lot of people don't want to go to tax preparers, so they feel that they're the tax preparer and they're going to do it themselves. So do you really recommend, because you were a tax preparer and have been for many, many years, do you recommend for individuals to do their own taxes?
No, I don't. And it's not because I want the profit. I have a passion for this, so it's not about the profit. I really want to see people come up. And there's ways you can come up in filing your tax return. So, but you're not educated in that area. TurboTax do not teach you anything. Also, if you're going to the big Jackson here at Liberty Tax, H&R Block, ask that person that's preparing your taxes how long they've been doing taxes, how long they've had their tax, their practitioner number. You want to make sure that the person that's preparing your taxes haven't just had a 6-week crash course.
Because I got caught up years ago with taxes, and I owe the IRS $10,000+.
Yeah.
And the tax preparer, she got off scot-free. I'm displaying XYZ she did, and well, you still owe us, and I had to pay it.
Yeah.
I had to pay it.
Well, what I recommend to everybody, look over your tax returns before you sign off. Yeah, you don't know taxes, but you know numbers. If you see something on there that's outrageous or expense or income that you did not give them, or a child name, I mean, I've seen it all, that you did not give that tax preparer, then do not sign off on that. Because once you sign off, they're not responsible, you are.
Yep,
you know, and so, I mean, you can report them to the IRS, and all that, but you're really responsible. That is a contract when you sign off and date it, that everything on there you agree to.
So for the last thing, what would be a good key advice would you give young people that are just graduating from high school, got a little job, and are getting out of college, and they got student loans? What advice would you give them when it comes to taxes?
Well, with young people, I advise them to, America tells us to graduate high school, go to college.
Mm-hmm.
I don't advise that to everybody. I advise them to, college is good, I have 2 degrees, to start their own business on the side. Do like what I did. You know, if you going to college, you can do a network marketing, and I say that because most of them are web-based, and you can track your expenses and your income through their website. Start a business on the side, even straight out of high school. My kids already have a business, and they're 13 and 16. I've already filed their DBAs. They have their own. It's called Domo and Dutch Enterprise, which is their name, because I'm conditioning them to own their own business, own their own time, ownership versus hitting the clock. You limited on the clock. You know, you got to wait for them to tell you at the end of the year after your review
how much you made, or if you
about your 40-cent raise.
Yeah.
There's no cap when you self-employed. I tell people I have to create my own check. Yeah, you have to be disciplined and stuff, but it's rewarding. If I want to take 8 vacations a year, my friends tell me all the time, you always on vacation.
Yeah.
Well, I work for myself, you know.
And you can do that.
Yeah, and I can do that. And then it's no cap. If I don't get out there and work, then my income reflects that. But if I do get out there and work, then my income reflects that also. And I want my kids to be, and the young people, to be entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Not just letting somebody, because, you know, being in a workplace, I did it 17 years. You're a robot. You know, you go to work every day, you do the same old thing. Most of the time, I was done with work, my job, by 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
That means I had to sit there till 5 o'clock. And I worked in banking, you know, I was in financial accounting, but my job was done. And so I worked myself out of a job, opened my own business while I worked, stayed there for 4 years until the business grew, and then told my job bye-bye. And I haven't been back. And that was 2008.
And not looking back.
And I haven't looked back.
I want to say thank you for sitting down with us, educating us on taxes. When we return, we'll have Ms. Brandy Jackson with us to sit down and educate us on insurance, life insurance, and why we need to have it. We'll be right back. We're back now with my very, very good friend, Miss Brandy Jackson of the Brandy Jackson Agency. So thank you for always coming, sitting down, talking to me all about insurance and all kind of other stuff we be talking about. How you been doing?
I've been doing great,
You've been doing insurance, what, 5 years? I thought it was longer than that.
It's a little longer. I've been in the industry a little while longer. Yep.
A little longer. Okay.
A little
And you have a motto, no hype, is it?
No, that's not me.
That's not you?
No,
Well,
that's
I
not
got
me.
this note down on here, March 2019.
I'm the insurance diva.
Why? I found no hype somewhere.
Probably in my bio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means basically when I'm talking to my clients and I'm giving them my best advice, it's no hype. I'm giving them real life scenarios. I'm letting them know this is what, you know, I've been through. I have real stories that I tell my people that I've been through, and, you know, and what my recommendations are.
And some people will just tell you anything.
Absolutely. And that's what hype is.
And with insurance, you can't just tell them anything. What inspired you to start working in the insurance field? Because you've been doing it for a while.
So I get asked that question all the time because the industry I came from was completely different. I worked in the telecommunications field for 16 years as a sales manager, and I transitioned completely to a different industry. One of the things that inspired me is I wanted to help people. And I knew if I got into the insurance industry that I would be helping people and helping their families. One of the things that I always ask my clients is, what's the most important thing to you? And they'll start naming off, oh, my cars, my house.
Really?
And I was like, well, what about your life? What about your families? That's the most important thing to you. So
It should be.
that's what inspired me to get into the industry is I knew I'd be helping people protect their assets and protect their families, what mattered the most.
How important is it to have our financial lives in order before retirement?
It's very important to have it in place before retirement. I made some notes, a lot of people, you solely depend on, or I'm going to say years ago, everybody, I'm going to be retiring soon, so I'm going to look for my Social Security. Social Security is not enough to take care of you after retirement.
And the way things are going, we might not have it around.
I took
much
a class, and it was on Social Security, and because we have to stay abreast of everything that's going on in the insurance industry. And they said because we have so many baby boomers that are living longer, and we have individuals like our millennials that are not working, so we have a lot of people that are taking from it and not enough that are putting back into it. So by the time we get to retirement age, there may not be any Social Security there, so it's very important to plan, have yourself some type of financial plan in place so that you're not depending on Social Security. Let that be an additive
Yeah.
in the event that once you retire, so that way you're not depending on that.
Because what I hate to see, normally when you go into Walmart, you see older people in their 60s and 70s, and they're working the door at Walmart. They should not be doing that.
I in my notes I put there, that's one of the things that I've seen time
A
and time
lot.
again. A lot of people at retirement age, they have to go back to work because they can't afford to retire.
No, cannot afford to
Or
retire.
either I worked in an industry to where there were older individuals, and I know they were retirement age, but they told me they could not retire because they didn't plan properly. They didn't have enough savings to take care of them, so they had to continue to work over 65.
Maybe full time or part time.
Yeah.
They will continue to work. What advice would you give young people?
So my advice to the younger generation would be to start a financial plan while you're young. Max out your life insurance coverages. It's very inexpensive. It's, the chances are that you don't have any health problems, so you can get a very inexpensive plan that's going to create some type of cash value. Cash value meaning when you put money into life insurance, whole life products accumulate cash value over the years. That's money that's basically savings into a life insurance plan that's tax free, that you can go back and use while you're living. So my advice is to max out while you're young. Go and get you some type of stock, some type of bonds. You're able to take that risk when you're young. When you get older and you get retirement age, I can't take that risk because if I lose all of my money and I'm 65 years old, I may not be able to go back to work.
Yeah.
So,
You won't.
my best advice, and I hear a lot of millennials, they'll come to me, I don't need life insurance right now. Yes, you do. One day you're going to need it.
That's the final question here is how important is life insurance? Because it's a lot of people today, we see so many GoFundMe pages, they're trying to bury the people. You should have just had a policy that was, sometimes you get a policy for like $30.
I grew up on insurance. My family's from Louisiana, and my mom, she still has life insurance on all 6 of her children.
And so does my family on
And
me.
and
so
I
does
just
my
remember
family.
growing up,
Yeah.
the insurance man came to our house
Sure
and picked up
did.
his premium.
Yes.
And the company she's with, the guy still comes to the house.
Do they really?
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't think they did that.
Oh, I'll make a
anymore.
house call if you call me as well.
Oh, okay.
I will.
Good to know.
I will.
Good to know.
I
think-
will.
I remember
That's what
those
insurance
days.
agents do. That's what a real agent would do anyway.
Yeah, I remember those days.
But yes, it's life insurance is probably one of the most important things. Like you said, you see the GoFundMe, you see tragic things happen. These days, not only old people are passing away, we have babies that are
Yep.
dying. We have so many things that's going on. So what I tell people is get something.
Yeah.
Whether it's a $10,000 whole life, it could be 20 or 30 bucks a month. That's one time going out to eat that you can save that money to be prepared in the event that you need that, because it's never fun losing someone and not being prepared.
No, it's really not, because when you're sitting there and you preparing for that, it costs 10 plus.
Absolutely.
Half of the time, depending on. So whole you can borrow off of.
Yes.
And then what is the other one? It's another one, right?
So there are several different type of life insurance plans. Life insurance has been one of the best kept secrets, because a lot of people invest in those because it's tax-free money. The government can't touch it. So they can come and take everything else, but they can't take that life insurance away from you. So it's a big investment that you can put money into. It's tax-free. I keep saying that because and I let people know that, because that's one thing that you can put your money into and pull it out, and you don't have to worry about it being taxed.
Yeah.
So
Because everything else will be taxed.
absolutely. So you have different types. You have your whole life. You have term policies. Term policies are great to fill in gaps. They're great for individuals that are a little more mature, that just want to get something to cover, additional expensive bills, college education for their children. If they have kids in college, and I know, potentially in the next 20 or 30 years, I need to make sure in the event something happens to me, a term policy is great for that.
Yeah.
It doesn't accumulate cash value, but it will cover those expenses in the event something happens to you within that time frame.
Okay. All righty then. We done got educated now on insurance, taxes. So I want to say thank you for always coming sit down and talk to me. Because last time you was with me was right after Harvey.
Absolutely,
We
was.
did a show to educate these people on insurance.
Yes.
And the ones that was trying to push their car in the flood, and they
I
know
told them,
Harvey
no,
got
no.
caught up.
Don't do it.
You're gonna get caught up. So
That's
again,
right.
thank you for coming sit with
You're
me.
welcome.
We're gonna be right back with the Adolph group, and they're gonna educate us on credit. So we'll be right back.
Oh yes, I'm so excited about that.
Yes, that's- And we're back with my last guest, and it's the Adolph group. My favorite people. So I love them to death. They're gonna educate us today, and we're gonna first kick it off. First of all, I want to say thank you guys for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
We're gonna kick it off with the real estate side, and why credit and those scores and all that is important when it comes to real estate and you buying a home or even qualifying for one. So Tequila, give us some information on that, because I think a lot of people, they're misinformed. Or they'll get information, well, I heard they got a program where you can go and get a house, and you get a 2-story house and your credit score of 400. How you gonna get a house and your credit score 400? Well, they said it's this program and that. Please educate us. Educate the people on that.
Well, first of all, thank you for allowing us to be here. And second, the main thing about real estate is education. And that's the main thing. Everybody always hearing from somebody, or they're Googling online certain information, and every person is different and every situation is different. Regarding real estate, you have to see where your personal state is. You might need to rent. You might need to get your credit scores up. You might need to save money. Or you might be just ready to get into a home. And the reason why credit is so important, because if you know, then you're at the driver's seat. And then you know where to go. And then you have the professionals around you to get you to that final goal of owning a home.
So Mr. Willie,
Hey, Miss Monique.
we gonna do the 101 on credit,
Okay.
because I said earlier when I opened up the show, Americans is like 38,000 that are in debt,
Well, it's
if not
actually-
more.
Yeah, it's quite a few. It's quite a bit more. A lot of people feel that if you have a 600 score, you're good. Actually, that is, you're not. That's not even. That's still poor credit, believe it or not. I went to a dealership this past week, and and I was just looking at their quotes for they had excellent, and they had good, and they had fair. Fair was like 650 and above. So
And that's
anything-
about right.
right, and anything under 650, and 650 was a 13.99%. So a lot of people fail to understand that you need credit. Just like I kind of use it hand in hand with insurance. You don't need your credit till you need your credit.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't, may not understand what I mean by that. But today you can rent something, you can buy something on credit and say, you know what, I'll pay it later, or I choose not to pay it, or whatever situation. Life might have happened. But the problem is when it's time to make those big purchases,
You're not gonna be able to.
it's going to be hard to, because either you're going to have to pay them back before you make this big purchase, or you're going to have to do some kind of adjustments in your life.
So first of all, what got you interested in doing credit repair?
What really got me interested in doing credit repair is back in 2003 when I was doing mortgages, and just seeing how many people was trying to purchase homes and they couldn't because of credit. And I was like, well, what could I do to help them, to maybe purchase a home or rent a home?
Yeah.
And that was really, and once we got to that point, it kind of was just like, hey, let's see what we can do.
What's the best score to have, and what is the worst? Now I know what you told me in there, but go ahead.
Well, the worst is 300. The best is 850. To get an 850, it's almost,
You gotta be perfect.
well, it's not really being perfect, it's being disciplined. So you have to understand you're going to always have to work at it. It's just like, anything that you want consistently done, you have to consistently do. If you slack off, it's going to show. It may show, a little bit, but it still shows. I've seen, in my lifespan, I've seen one 850 score. And that's between, 15 years? But I've seen quite a few 800 scores. I've had clients that they're very proud, and we call them, and they're in that 800 club.
That's a lot to be proud of. One day, that's my goal. One day to get there.
You'll get there. It's just understanding, because a lot of
it's,
people feel it's hard. It's not hard. It's just changing your mindset.
Yeah. What are tips that you can give us to improving your credit?
Well, here's a lot of good tips. Is first, stop the bleeding. Stop. When I say stop the bleeding,
damage.
it's like stop getting these credit cards and charging them up. College students have them bad because you get that free credit card, and next thing you know, I got free money. You're steady charging, and then as an adult, when you finally do get a credit card, you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna get this, and you're steady charging. First, let's get that under control. Start setting budgets. Start knowing where you're spending your money at. Start understanding how much of it that you spend, because technically it's not your money.
So let me ask you this, because before I had some health issues, what I would normally do with my credit cards is I wouldn't pay the minimum payment. I would pay much more.
Okay.
Like $100 to $200 more than, and my minimum payment was maybe $50.
Right.
But I would pay $100 to $200 more.
Right.
But then when I went into my health issue, that went downhill.
Well, it's good that
Went
you paid more, because in the long run,
is that a bad thing or is that a good thing?
it's a better thing. The best thing to do is, so say for instance you have a $500 limit on your credit card. You don't want to go over 30% of that 500. So that's only $150 that you're technically looking at. Hey, I can't spend over $150 every month. Another good way to help boost your credit up, instead of paying it down to zero, leave a $5 balance. So, just a suggestion.
And that was my next question. What was the tip to keep your score up? So you just gave one of them.
And so and the thing is that a lot of people, you can use what you have to get what you want. And what I mean by that, you don't have to have $10,000 credit cards, $5,000 credit cards. You can actually have $500 credit card limits and then just manage them. And then as you progress, you learn how to spend, and now you won't be so quickly to pull out that credit card to overspend.
What hurts your credit the worst?
Not paying your bills.
Just bottom line. Yeah.
Just bottom line. Just
Bottom
you
line.
don't pay, you're gonna get hurt. Another thing is having too much credit, because you're overextending your budget, and now you're living off of ABC credit card to pay XYZ credit card, and then what about LMNOP? You know, somebody's gonna get cut short.
So talking about too much credit, because you know sometimes like when you're young and just starting out, got out of high school, they're trying to go get something, they'll tell you don't have any credit. So we're not going to give it to you because you don't have any credit. And then just like you said, you can have too much credit.
Correct.
What is
It's a catch-22
Yeah.
is what you're saying. It's
Yeah.
basically is your debt utilization. And when you have too much credit, that means you have more credit than you have money. Because at some point, you have to pay these people back. And you must pay these people back to obtain more credit. Because it's just like if I borrow $5 from you and never pay you back, what's the likelihood of you giving me $10?
I might give you $10 still.
Even though I didn't give you the 5 back?
Yeah, you
Okay,
feel-
well
yeah.
then now I didn't pay that back. Now you gonna give me 20?
I-
See, and that's how how credit.
We can't compare that. It's a
Well,
different
not me.
situation.
Just say I'm somebody.
A stranger? No,
You probably won't even give it a 5
no.
because you don't know nothing about them, and that's people with no credit.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's all about the relationship that you build, and if you build a good relationship with your debtors, vendors, you can actually ask for favors. And what I mean by that, so you have a $500 credit card, you've been keeping it, under 30% for a year, and then all of a sudden something comes up, a big investment that I'm trying to get this started. I need a little bit more money, but I can't go over $150. But guess what? Call them and say, hey, you know what? I've been doing such a good job. They'll actually review your case, look at it, and they can actually up your limit. So now instead of $500, they may give you $1,000. So now you're up to $300 that you can spend. So there's a lot of little tricks and tips. And sometimes, and say for instance, for some odd reason, because life happens, you go over the 30%. So you're spending $200 of the $500. It's not a bad thing as long as you're not missing your payments.
Yeah.
Go in, ask for a credit increase. So you go to that 500, you go to 1,000. Guess what that just did to your debt utilization? You was above 30. Now you have to go up to this 1,000. So now you got 300. Now you got 200. Now you're back up under the 30 again, and your scores get boosted. You get rewarded for doing good deeds to your credit.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming. Give me both of you one word, each of you, that you would give to a young person when it comes to credit, or even an old person, because half of us don't do right. So
One word?
Yeah, one word.
Discipline.
Okay. Tequila.
My word would be watching it. Just
Watch.
be aware.
Okay.
Be aware of what's on your credit. That's what's happening now. No one knows what's on their credit.
Okay. That sounds good. So, guys, again, thank you guys for coming and
you for
educating us on
having
credit.
us.
We got to do it again.
Hi, my name is Nikki Ferguson, and I am a credit repair consultant. And did you know that a quarter of all people do not know their credit score? And let me ask you, do you know your credit score? Credit scores range between 300 and 850. Do you know where your range is? The national average credit score is about 700. Wow. Now I want to give you a few information, a few tips about credit repair. Feel free to call into our life to get further information. Now, there are 5 ways to calculate your credit. Do you know that? Some people don't. A lot of people don't. I didn't know that at first until I got into finances and credit repair and started being very serious about my credit. So these are the 5 ways. You have your payment history. You have your outstanding debt, which is the amount that you use to owe. The length of your credit history. The type of credit you have. And increase. That's payment history. The amount you owe. The length of your credit. New credit. And types of credit used. Those are the 5 ways that it's calculated. So the highest percentage is 35%. That's your payment history. They will look at all the different histories of the way that you make your payments. The capacity and amount owed, money that's owed, your outstanding debt, installment loans, revolving loans, all of that. That is 30%. Then they look at your length of credit, how long you've had your credit. That is calculated 15% of your credit score. They want to know how long you've had this account. And just a tip on that, if you had old accounts, please do not just close them out. You can use the account maybe once every 6 months, charge something and pay it off. But if you have a really old account, keep the account. Do not close it out, because that helps your credit score a lot. And then new credit, the number of inquiries, that's like 10%. That is 10% of your credit. And so with the inquiries, they are like 2 different types. The first type, something that you authorize, that you're looking for to get a car, a home, credit card, store account, anything like that. Those are inquiries. That's one part. Then the other inquiries are promotional inquiries that you didn't authorize. This is all calculated like 10%. So those are the 5 ways to calculate your credit score. So if you have any other questions on that, please feel free to give us a call. But just make sure you always using your credit and you use it wisely. If you use it, make sure you pay your bills on time and do not use over 30% of the account. Here's another did you know? Did you know that credit reporting agencies are not government entities? They are private companies. You heard me? Private companies. So don't be all paranoid and scared. They are a private company, and you have the option to review and dispute any items on your credit report. So what we do for my company at Family Financial Team, what we would do is pull your credit report, see what's on your credit report. We'll create the dispute letters, and we'll mail it out to you to your home. You would then view the letters, make sure everything is accurate, sign them, and you will send it to all 3 agencies. We dispute everything at one time, and we dispute with all 3 agencies. We don't pick and choose which one that we want to work with. We work with all 3 agencies. According to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, all Americans can dispute any items on their credit report, from late payments, charge-off, foreclosures, bankruptcy, tax liens, collections, medical bills, short sales, and student loans. Anything that's on your credit report that is inaccurate, you can dispute it. Okay, this is Nikki Ferguson, and I am back with some more services that we offer. We have the credit attorney. Now, these are attorneys just for credit. Anything that's on your credit report, credit repair, credit services, anything dealing with credit, nothing dealing with a speeding ticket or anything else, or your child support, this going on, that going on, outside of your credit services. Credit attorneys are free and available for you to assist you if you have any issues. Also, we have credit monitoring. This is another service that we offer. Self-explanatory. We will monitor your credit. Any alerts will be sent straight to your cell phone. Anything that will go on, any transactions, you will be alert. So these are the two more services that we offer: credit attorney and credit monitoring. Stay tuned for more of our services. My name is Nikki with Family Financial Team.
I want to thank all my guests for being here today to educate us on finances. Guys, it's so important. So until next time, always empower, always encourage, and continue to remove your mask.